Now every Wednesday
we need to encourage women to take up positions.
8 p.m.
But I also encourage women to be more confident, to come out and be counted, to really work hard and work on their competence.
We need to find a solution, not only rebounds as how we were, but we need to transform of being a better sector than ever imagined.
The person at a kiosk pays tax. Why shouldn't somebody who's online also pay tax? The more we contribute to the taxation, the more budget will get allocated.
The reason as why we decided to increase our debt ceiling is just to give ourselves space, and those are targets.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry has been at the forefront of supporting businesses, receiving their ideas.
What makes a business strong is the quality of the relationship with the market base and your market share, and then the margins you have, and the ability to convert those sales into cash.
We need to encourage women to take up positions, but I also encourage women to be more confident, to come out and be.
The reason as why we decided to increase our debt ceiling is just to give ourselves space, and those are targets.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry has been at the forefront of supporting businesses, receiving their ideas.
What makes a business strong is the quality of the relationship with the market base and your market share, and then the margins you have, and the ability to convert those sales into cash.
We need to encourage women to take up positions, but I also encourage women to be more confident, to come out and be counted, to really work hard and work on their competence.
We need to find a solution, not only rebounds as how we were, but we need to transform of being a better sector than ever imagined.
The person at a kiosk pays tax.
The boardroom.
It is
not only here that the decisions are made. Business deals are sealed. Money changes hands. Money changes hands. Have a big role to play in the economy. In the economy. On the Trading Bell, we take you down to where the action is. We speak to the industry leaders. We speak to the industry leaders as well as get their uplifting discussions where it helps you make decisions at the end of the day. Now, every Wednesday on KT News, catch the Trading Bell at 8 p.m. In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, it is not only here that the disease exchange trading continues. And on the Trading Bell, we continue to bring you in-depth analysis with interviews, even as you stay safe at home and work towards making Kenya a great country. Now, every Wednesday on KT News, catch the Trading Bell at 8 p.m. In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, here at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, trading continues. And on the Trading Bell, we continue to bring you in-depth analysis with interviews even as you stay safe at home and work towards making Kenya a great country. Now, every Wednesday on KTN News, catch the Trading Bell at 8 p.m. In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, here at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, trading continues. And on the Trading Bell, we continue to bring you in-depth analysis with interviews even as you stay safe at home and work towards making
The reason as why we decided to increase our debt ceiling is just to give ourselves space. And those are targets.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry has been at the forefront of supporting businesses, receiving their ideas.
What makes a business strong is the quality of the relationship with the market base and your market share, and then the margins you have, and the ability to convert those sales into cash.
We need to encourage women to take up positions, but I also encourage women to be more confident, to come out and be counted, to really work hard and work on their competence.
We need
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and warm welcome to the exchange. My name is Waithera Mwai, and I'm in charge of corporate affairs here at the NSC, and I'll be moderating this session. Today is a day of celebration, and we are here to commemorate the change in leadership at the NSC. Let me first welcome everybody who is joining us virtually through our digital platforms, on our Facebook page at NSC Kenya, on our YouTube page at NSC Kenya, and also on KTN Live. We thank you for plugging into our live coverage. Thank you very much. I also wish to extend a warm welcome to our dignitaries who are physically present here with us in the room. Right off the bat with the Honorable CS, Honorable Ukuri Yatani, thank you so much for joining us here today, and the rest of the team. Mr. Shamia, the Acting CEO of CMA, thank you very much for joining us here today. Our Chairman, Kiprono Kitonyi, thank you so much for joining us here today. The Vice Chairman of NSC, Mr. Bob Karina, karibu sana, and thank you for joining us here today. Mr. Sam Kimani, our former Chairman, thank you for joining us here today. And last but not least, Mr. Geoffrey Odundo, thank you very much for joining us here today. Without further ado, we'll kick off our program and welcoming, started off by our CEO, Geoffrey Odundo. Karibu.
Sorry, this. Honorable Ambassador Ukuri Yatani, Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, Mr. Kiprono Kitonyi, the Chairman, Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Wycliffe Shamia, the Acting Chief Executive of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Samuel Kimani, our former Chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Bob Karina, our Vice Chairman, the colleagues and representatives from the National Treasury present here today, Professor Barako and the team, my colleagues from the NSC, also welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, our audience in the social media platforms of the NSC, we are very delighted to have you tuning in, and KTN Live for giving us this live transmission. Good morning once again. It's really a great pleasure for us today as I welcome each and every one of you on this great and auspicious occasion of the transition in leadership at the NSC. Today we mark a formal bell ringing to mark the handover of chairmanship from Mr. Sam Kimani, who has been our chairman for the last 4 years, to Mr. Kiprono Kitonyi. Mr. Kimani has been the chairman of the NSC from June 6th, 2016 to July 13th, 2020, while Mr. Kitonyi has been a director of the board of the exchange since May 2018. Honorable CS, I'd like to recognize the presence of our directors who could not be with us today, but will be joining us virtually in an effort for us to observe the social distancing. The NSC board comprises of 10 directors, myself included, and those who are joining us virtually are Mr. Osea Kili, who is also the Group Managing Director and the CEO of the CPF Financial Services Limited, Mrs. Nasim Devji, who is also the Managing Director and Group Chief Executive of Diamond Trust Group, Mr. Michael Turner, who is the Managing Director of Actis in East Africa, Mr. Paul Volant, the Director of Sales and Trading at Largo Resources, a Canadian-listed mining company, Mrs. Rispa Alaro, who is a practicing executive leadership coach and previously served the Centum Group PLC as Managing Director of Centum Business Solutions and the Group Finance and Operations Director, Mr. Paul Mwai, who is also the Chief Executive of the AIB Capital and the Chairman of the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks, and finally, Mrs. Isis Madison Nyong'o, who is a founder of Mom's Village and a principal at Asphalt and Inc. With us today is our chairman, as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Kiprono Kitonyi, our vice chairman, Mr. Bob Karina, and our former chairman, Mr. Sam Kimani, who is still the director of the board. Before I welcome Mr. Sam Kimani Mr. Sam Kimani, who will be welcomed later, Waziri, I was first of all express my heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Sam for giving me wise counsel in the last 4 years. We've had tremendous achievement. Sam has given me quite some latitude to run the exchange on behalf of the board and very, very good guidance. And we achieved a lot, as I mentioned in our debriefing, especially in terms of building products in the market and achieving great milestones in the investment arena. So Sam, thank you very much on behalf of the management for your good stewardship. And I would also want to thank Mr. Kiprono, who will now be giving us stewardship for the next 4 years, And I really look forward to working with you and to steer this exchange to even greater heights. So in conclusion, allow me to welcome Mr. Wycliffe Shamia, the CEO, acting CEO of the CMA, to give his remarks. Thank you very much.
The Cabinet Secretary to National Treasury, Ambassador Ukuru Yatani, the outgoing and incoming chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Sam Kimani and Kiprono Kitoni, the CEO of NSE, distinguished past and current NSE board members, other guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm delighted to be here today in this important event during the challenging time of COVID-19 that we see change in leadership of the board of NSE. Special acknowledgement to you, Ambassador CS, for gracing this occasion, cognizant of your busy schedule. This is a true testament to the continued support from government. I just wanted to mention that while many stock markets have declined substantially, it has been argued that in some instances, the extent of decline may not be commensurate with the fundamentals of affecting companies and may have been driven by panic. Under Mr. Kimani's stewardship, the NSE has continued to be resilient as compared to other exchanges in the continent. We thank the outgoing NSE chairman, Mr. Kimani, for steering the NSE to become a resilient exchange under his excellent stewardship. In terms of transition, I note with delight that he remains a non-executive director on the board of NSE. We welcome the new chairman to take on the mantle, and as the regulators of capital markets, working with the government, we pledge to give you, Mr. Kitoni, our support so that we can achieve what most Kenyans expect. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very good time at NSE. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Mr. Shamia, for those remarks. It's now my pleasure to invite our outgoing chairman, Mr. Sam Kimani, to give his remarks.
Thank you, Shamia, for some kind words. It's not often you hear people say some nice things about you when you are present. Thank you. Being told to remove that. Honorable Ambassador Ukuru Yatani, the CS, welcome to the NSC and thank you very much for gracing this occasion. Wycliffe Shamia, the CEO of the Capital Markets Authority, my chairman Kiprono Kitoni, Bob Karina, Vice Chair, Jeff Odundo, our CEO, representatives of the National Treasury, and I can see Professor Barako and his team, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today is a special day for me as I make my final remarks as the outgoing chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. It is also a moment of mixed feelings for me personally, because I've enjoyed being a chairman, Kiprono, but I remain extremely delighted for the bright future of the exchange with this transition. I'm extremely proud of the development that the NSC was able to achieve during the course of my tenure. We made significant progress in accomplishing key objectives despite a challenging environment not only here in Kenya, but also in other markets. As I took leadership of the NSC, I placed special focus on developing the NSC into a world-class trading facility anchored on diverse investment products and best-in-class technology. Development of core market infrastructure was key in supporting the NSC achieve the MSCI frontier market status, as well as position Nairobi as a leading financial services hub in the region. I'm happy to note that together with the support of the board and other stakeholders, we were able to develop and launch key products such as the real estate investment trusts, exchange traded funds, and the derivatives market. We also developed the regulatory framework to facilitate the listing of green instruments, which saw the listing of the first green bond in East and Central Africa. Equally, we developed the world's first mobile traded government infrastructure bond in partnership with the National Treasury, Mr. PS, the Emakiba bond, which is paving the way for the democratization of capital markets access not only in Kenya, but around the world. The Emakiba bond has enabled us register over 500,000 new retail investors onto the bond market, enabling Kenyans from all walks of life to participate in supporting growth in our country whilst saving and making good returns. These developments have proved critical to investors in our market, particularly during this period of high uncertainty caused by the outbreak of COVID-19. A clear example is the ETF listed in our market. The gold-backed ETF has enabled investors hedge against prevailing volatility. I'm particularly proud of the recent upgrade of the trading system. The system deployed in our market is similar to systems used in other key markets such as the LSE, London Stock Exchange, and the JSE, that's the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. It will support the trading of multiple asset classes as well as provide for more enhanced trading capabilities such as short selling and securities lending and borrowing. Equally, it will enhance investor confidence in our market. As a market in a developing economy, positioning our brand was key in enhancing capital flow in Kenya. In line with this, I was determined to ensure the NSE received full membership to the World Federation of Exchanges. I'm delighted to note that in 2018, we received full admission to WFE, joining an elite group of stock exchanges such as the New York Stock Exchange. I'm confident that my tenure has set up the necessary foundation to support the exchange's future growth. As I make my final remarks, I wish to draw attention to the following matters. Increased listing on a PS, and we have discussed that in the boardroom. We would like to see more quality companies being listed on the exchange. The product uptake, we would like to increase the uptake. Right now, some of the product uptake has been low, especially on the real estate investment trust and the exchange traded funds and derivatives. Enhancing liquidity, it is very important to enhance liquidity in the market because this will increase activity and support business growth. And we would like to see some of the other companies with high valued stocks to split them to enhance liquidity. Increased engagement with investors. We do not have enough, as many retail investors as we would want, and we have had debates even in our boardroom about how we can increase the engagement with investors and bring more retail investors onto the market. My tenure and achievement at the NSE could not have been possible without the support received from the various quarters. First, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the board It's been a very, very supportive board, and I hope they continue to give the same support to the incoming chairman, Mr. Kiprono. I want also to take this opportunity to thank the national government for the backing offered, especially since you became CS. I think this is the third time we are meeting, and over a very short period of time. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the Capital Markets Authority, Shamia. They have been our regulators, but they have always been open and very, very helpful. I've never had a problem with that regulator during those 4 years. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers. Bob, you can tell your colleagues and investment banks. I've been very, very grateful, received a lot of support from them. I want to appreciate our customers, issuers, and investors for giving us the opportunity to address their capital and investment needs. Finally, the management and staff of the NSE led by Jeff, thank you, has shown hard work and commitment and has enabled us achieve progress. My words alone cannot express my abundant appreciation to you all. As I conclude, the role of the NSE in supporting economic growth in our country cannot be overemphasized. Mona PS, you did say that we are the barometer of the economy. We have seen even with this COVID-19, a lot of people still coming to the market, and that means it's an indication of the confidence they have in our economy and our country. I would like to wish Mr. Kitoni all the best as he starts this journey. I would like to reiterate that as a board that we have extreme confidence in you, Bwana Kitoni, and believe that you will be able to drive this business to the next frontier and even outperform our expectations. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kimani, and indeed we have really benefited from your stewardship over the years. It's now my pleasure to invite the chairman of Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Kitoni, to give his remarks.
Our chief guest this morning, Honorable Ambassador Ukur Yatani, Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury, Mr. Wycliffe Shamia, Acting CEO of the Capital Markets Authority, Sam Kimani, the outgoing Chairman of the NSC, Mr. Bob Karina, my long-serving and very capable Vice Chairman of the NSC, Jeff Odundo, Chief Executive NSC, representatives of the National Treasury, the hardworking and diligent board members and staff of the NSC, members of the Fourth Estate here present, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and my privilege this morning to stand before you and to welcome you all here today and thank you for making time to join us for this ceremony. I would like to thank and acknowledge my predecessor and former chairman, Sam Kimani, under whose able leadership and guidance the NSC was able to strengthen its position in Africa's financial market, and for his contribution to the growth of this organization. The NSC has indeed achieved great milestones under your leadership. I thank you, and the entire board does so, for your faith in me to take over as a new chairman and to elevate the exchange to greater heights. Thank you, Sam. It's been a great pleasure serving under you. Today, our country and indeed the whole world is fighting a health crisis, and there has been a need to put in place measures to support trading in the market, while ensuring that we adhere to the health protocols as laid down by the government. The board of the NSC has undertaken strategic measures to ensure local and foreign investors have uninterrupted access to capital market services in Kenya. As you may be aware, the NSC has entered a new strategic period to which I am tasked to oversee. The 2020 to 24 corporate strategy that carries the vision to make the NSC a leading exchange and investment partner of choice through providing efficient investment and capital raising services in Africa and globally. Anchored in innovation and technology, NSC has identified strategic pillars that will form the foundation of its strategic plan. These strategic pillars and organized related initiatives that work together to deliver specific and valuable business objectives are 4 in number, and they are, firstly, sustainable business growth. To ensure sustainability of our revenue growth, we will diversify our revenue and distributional channels. Secondly, operational excellence. We will seek to improve operational efficiencies, optimize costs, enhance innovation, and efficiently deliver our brand promise to our investors, customers, shareholders, market players, and the general public. Thirdly is people. Our people are our greatest asset, and we will focus on promoting a high-performance culture, enhance employee engagement, talent development, and succession planning. Fourth is strategic partnerships. The NSC will be more proactive and intentional about partnerships, and we will leverage on these partnerships to access new markets and elevate our market position. Our past strategic period was anchored in product development with a key number of successes, as mentioned by my predecessor. Waziri, last year we were in Kasane in Botswana, and it was amazing to see how widely respected, how well respected our NSC is because of product development. I mean, many markets in Africa look up to us, and we are a benchmark to many markets in Africa in the development of capital markets. We will focus on uptake of these products through sufficient product knowledge and awareness to increase investor participation and enhance overall market liquidity. At the same time, we will aggressively seek to increase our listed companies across all our asset classes in an effort to deepen Kenya's capital market. These strategies reaffirm our commitment to innovate, to lead, and to improve the capital markets in Kenya and beyond our borders as we seek to link capital to opportunity as per our mission statement. Bwana Waziri, I'm honored to host you today at the Exchange, and I'd like to commend the National Treasury for the resilience demonstrated during these unprecedented times. We especially applaud you and your focus on policy actions taken by your ministry, including a reduction in tax payable during this period, the setting up of an emergency response fund, and the formulation of a comprehensive 2020-2021 national budget. These serve to demonstrate the steadfast leadership that you have provided to this great nation in finance. NSC too is following in line with its mandate to create wealth for Kenyan citizens. During this period, while supporting the fight against COVID, we have ensured all services have remained available to our investors, issuers, and market players. As we embark on our 2020-24 strategy, we can support the government's post-recovery strategy by positioning capital market financing as an option for companies and various institutions as they return to operational normalcy. In particular, the capital markets are well positioned to support financing of key state corporations through equity or debt capital solutions, as evidenced by the successful capital raises done in the past. We look forward to working closely with your ministry for the benefits and long-term prosperity of capital markets in Kenya and further on in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude my remarks, I would like to remind you once again that we continue to operate in a very difficult global economic climate. However, if the Kenyan economic growth story remains steady, generating corporate growth and profit, the future of Kenya's capital markets will be bright. On behalf of the NSC board, I would like to thank the national government, the National Treasury, Capital Markets Authority, and other state actors for their continued support and advice. I'd also like to extend our sincere gratitude. I'd also like to compliment and thank all the employees of the NSC for their abundant dedication and efforts towards meeting the objectives of the exchange. I'd also like to thank our shareholders, board of directors, strategic partners, customers, and investors for their continued support of the institution. I want to assure you all that the NSC is committed to continuing offering a wide variety of investment instruments for varied investments needs, and together continue to discover the abundant opportunities our market offers. In conclusion, Waziri, I think I will echo the words of my predecessor to say the future of the exchange lies in more listings. It lies in more local participation. It lies in enhancing liquidity. And above all, it lies in us as a country, as Kenyans, believing that Nairobi is a financial hub for not just East Africa, but even broader into the African region. And it can be done through closer partnership between ourselves. So we want to see more listings. We want to see more focus on corporate governance. We want to see our companies access green climate funding. We want to see more locals participate as investors in the market. And if nothing else, the one assurance I will give you is that we will do everything we can to live up to our tagline, which is stated in our logo, discovering opportunity. It is now my singular honor and privilege to welcome our chief guest this morning, Ambassador Ukur Yatani, Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, to give his keynote address. Karibu Waziri. Thank you.
The acting Chief Executive, Capital Market Authority, Mr. Wycliffe Shamia, the Chairman, Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Kiprono Kitonyi, the former chair, rather the outgoing chair, NSC, Mr. Samuel Kimani, the Chief Executive, NSC, Mr. Jeffrey Odundo, board members, staff of NSC, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great honor and pleasure to join you at this historic event in witnessing the handover of the chairmanship of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. At the outset, let me take this opportunity to congratulate you, the new chair, Mr. Kiprono, my friend, for the trust and confidence investors have shown in you by giving you leadership position to steer this very important organization, NSC, to greater heights of success. I have no doubt that NSC made the right choice and were truly guided by wisdom to settle on the chair, particularly under these current turbulent times. Indeed, your single-handed revival and sustained styling performance at the previously moribund organization, the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, is admirable. I have interacted with you at that level, and the success we have seen over the period is something to look back to and see the level of optimism that we have in championing this cause. I'd also like to acknowledge with deep appreciation the achievements of NSC under the leadership of the outgoing chairperson, Mr. Samuel Kimani, who effectively positioned the organization as a critical link to capital for corporations in Kenya and the region at large. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, deep and liquid capital markets are not only essential ingredients, but instrumental in supporting economic growth, creating domestic investment opportunities, as well as attracting foreign and local capital. Subsequently, a vibrant, well-functioning, efficient, and stable financial system is a catalyst for broad-based, sustainable economic growth and development of any nation. Furthermore, financial market development offers additional growth and funding opportunities for local firms. Is not an exclusive to foreign investment, but locally, we can put capital in the right place and use it to grow our economy. It also offers opportunity for international and domestic investors to access the markets of fast-growing countries like ours. Additionally, it mobilizes savings and investors to support a country's development aspirations. In pursuit of this noble vision, the Nairobi Securities Exchange has continued to play a catalytic role in supporting the government to raise capital to fund development programs and projects, in addition to financing a recurrent expenditure. I hasten to add that, generally, NSE has greatly supported businesses and entrepreneurs come together to buy, sell, trade shares for the purpose of providing capital to enterprises that need it most. In general, the financial service sector remains critical to achievement of a desired double-digit economic growth target of the economic pillar, which lies at the heart of Vision 2030, while remaining critical in the realization of sustainable development goals on promoting sustained inclusive economic growth, full achievement and productive employment and decent work to all. Further, it's important to note that the sector is one of the critical focus of support in the achievement of the Big Four agenda. When you look at the Big Four agenda of decent housing, manufacturing for creation of jobs, universal health cover, food security, they lie in the core, the heart, and the basic of human essential elements. It lies on the pillar, on the radar of not only economic growth, but basic human survival. An investment in this sector will pertain greater stimulus, catalytic and growth to the rest of the other sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, noting that we're in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to acknowledge the remarkable work undertaken by NSE that ensure that all services continue to remain available to investors and users, as well as supporting the fight against the pandemic. You know, this is not only a health challenge, but an economic challenge. It's a survival of humanity. We do not only need health, but for us to have better health, we have to be well nourished, we have to be well taken care of. And NSE has played this role effectively by keeping the market alive, by making sure that trading continued and ended. And I was pleasantly surprised that the trading actually increased than last year. It doesn't matter whether it's going down, but the activities, there were more activities this year than last year. These are clear indication and testimony of confidence that the Kenyans and the rest of the investors have in NSE. And we want to encourage you to continue working hard, expanding your scope, making sure that you are not only playing at the local league, but also at the regional and international league. Expand more. Kenya is known to be a pace setter in terms of for the economic development of the region. As you now embark on your 2020-24 strategy, focus needs to be put on post-COVID economic recovery and restoration of lost incomes to our companies. The journey is not complete unless we portend the future. We are not sure what will happen with COVID, whether things are going to get better, or we are going to be in this situation for a longer time. And all our projections and assumptions as an economy needs to be guided by new thinking, by making sure that we cast in the future and navigate these uncharted waters. I am sure within the strategic framework of your strategic plan, you are well covered on all this, and we want to be partner with you to move alongside by making sure that this strategy is achievable. To achieve these objectives, I invite NSE to partner with government to embark on aggressive fundraising activities so as to enhance the much required economic dividend, as well as reduce the net domestic borrowing for the government. This is a key area for us. And as government is you and me and the people. A healthy government is a net sum of contribution of all of us, and NSE is going to play a critical role. We are running out of space because we cannot continue increasing taxes to the common person. We cannot continue borrowing. And the new thinking Treasury now, we are not keen about borrowing anymore. If we have to, we only do it through the concessional window from the multilateral agencies. Commercial borrowing is going to hinder the future growth of this country. So that's why we are not keenly going there, because it's going to put unnecessary strain on our fiscal framework. That's why this market, the NSC, is going to be key as a partner of government by mobilizing resources for government, by mobilizing resources for investment, infrastructure growth, and all the developmental aspirations that we have. And that's why we need to continue working together, by working together, closely planning together, and moving in one direction, so that we complement each other's effort. It is important to know that NSC continues to be a critical partner in financing infrastructure, not forgetting its key function of resource mobilization for the small and medium-term enterprise sector. This is going to be very, very important moving forward. As National Treasury, we are in the final phases of launching the Credit Guarantee Scheme. We are going to provide resources for this critical sector by working with the banks, working with other financial institutions, availing money so that the risks are going to be shared between government and the private sector. The net sum of all this is to make money available to this critical sector for enhanced employment and also generation of more revenue for themselves and also for the government. This is one area that we want to closely work together. At this critical juncture, I would like to invite NSC to step up its collaboration with government as we take measures to reposition our capital markets and by extension the NSC as a center of excellence and gateway to the region and the Africa at large. This is our vision under the Capital Markets Master Plan 2014-2023. And the reason we have established the Nairobi International Financial Center. You are aware we've also consulted the board of the International Financial Center. It's all systems go. And this is one critical area that the new board needs to benefit from a long history of experience and engagement because you'll be expected to babysit them, work together, guide them, and make them more critical in the financial space in Kenya and also beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, the deployment of digital technology in all facets of financial service is an emerging area that has significantly enhanced and revolutionized financial services provision. The use of fintech has increasingly changed the interaction between providers and consumers of financial services. Fintech offers us the best chance of expanding financial inclusions and greater sharing of wealth in our nation. There's need to have a mechanism to have our retail investors continue investing in the NSC while complying with the laid down Ministry of Health directives through the digital platform. Of course, you're already quite alive to even this function. The manner, the protocol that has been set is well in conformity with the protocol set by Ministry of Health, because in pursuit of wealth, in pursuit of more opportunity, we also have to protect our people and make sure that the necessary protocols are fully followed. I also want to respond to a few concerns, really not concerns, but requests from the board members. I want to assure that we are going to work together along the journey of increasing the IPOs. Government is keen to inject efficiency, is keen to create more wealth and disperse wealth to Kenyans. There are a number of government companies that are doing very well, but they can do much, much better with a private injection. And I've asked the board that you are going to work together through a team from National Treasury and yourself and work and give us a roadmap on how we are going to actualize this. I want this to be done in the next 2-3 weeks so that now we move to the next phase and putting wealth in the hands of ordinary Kenyan so that they become masters of their own affairs by being proud of owners of these companies that are going to among the top companies in this country. I've also been requested that part of the impediment to the growth of the NSC and the financial sector could be maybe the unbearing taxes. It's a matter that we are going to consider and work alongside each other and see how best this can be reviewed with the sole intention of giving opportunities to Kenyans. My support in this area will be, will continue supporting this area. because we consider the health of the NSC is the health of the nations. I indicated earlier, one of the vital signs of a healthy economy is the performance of the NSC. If it's doing well, if it's up and about, if it attracts people locally and also beyond, and if there's rush for it, is a clear indication that the health of our economy is well on course, and that is the route that we want to pursue. I'm also quite optimistic, despite the challenge of COVID. As a country, we're heading in the right direction. If you look at inflation rates last year, in contrast to this year, our inflation this time last year was about 6.3% of GDP. Right now is at about 4.4. Why? Because inflation Kenya is mainly driven by food prices. God has given us opportunity, has given us plenty of rain, food prices are low, therefore inflation this year is much lower than last year. And if you look at the optimism in the market, 2 months ago we are confounded by very serious challenge. There's a lot of fear that the situation is going to get out of hand and likely the economy might crash. But we've weathered the storm. The very turbulent times are behind us. We have strategically placed ourselves by continuously injecting liquidity in the market. At the first phase of the stimulus package, we are to forego 172 billion in form of taxes. The reduction of the income tax, the reduction of the VAT, as well as other enhancement of liquidity by sustaining, fast-tracking the process of tax refunds, supporting the vulnerable segment within the society, by the central bank reducing the CBR and the CRR and making it more money available to the commercial bank for on lending to the various private sector, has continued to cushion our economy. The worst is now behind us. I'm very optimistic that the indicators are much better. We are going to have a release of the review maybe in a short while, and we are seeing now we are back on our feet on the upward trajectory to cushion and sustaining our economy. This is very, very important, and I want us to continue working together. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to assure the NSC and the new chairman of our support, world support, in steering the exchange to new heights of success. I urge you all to formulate economic recovery plans, and if there's need for consultation, do not hesitate to come up to the National Treasury. Through this team that we work together, we want to continue creating a venue of deeper, regular engagement, because we complement each other. We are not all in business, but we are working to ensure that our economy remains vibrant. With those remarks, I wish the upcoming the new chair of NSC a fruitful time during his tenure as the NSC. May you also steer the NSC to greater heights, as done by your predecessor. But this is a journey that I assured you, you'll not be working alone. You'll be working with us, with the National Treasury, because we value this important organization as an entry point, not only for our country, but as for our region. We are operationalizing the Nairobi International Financial Center. Hence, the need for closer collaboration between the government and NSC cannot be emphasized. We are now going to greater, higher heights. And in this journey, we want to work together by making sure Nairobi, in the heart of the region, as a financial hub, that's going to now provide services to not only Kenya, but East Africa and even beyond. I want to thank you very much and assure you of further support, and look forward to greater success of NSC. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS, for those kind words. And indeed, the future does look very bright for us. Without further ado, as we are pressed for time, we will now get into the presentation of gifts right before the bell ringing. I'd kindly request our team to take over, to take down the podium. Kindly. I'd like to request our chairman, Mr. Kiprono Kitoni, to approach the stage, and our former chairman, Mr. Sam Kimani. Mr. Kitoni will now be presenting a gift of memorabilia to Mr. Kimani. Kindly take off your masks for the photos. Thank you very, very much. I'll kindly request you both to stay on stage. We'll now request Mr. Kimani to present the tools of trade of the NSC to Mr. Kitoni as a symbol of the next leadership.
I would also like to present Mr. Kitoni the strategic plan.
Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to invite the Honorable CS on stage. That is a ceremonial bell, just thanking you very much for for joining us here today. But we will now get into the official bell ringing ceremony. Yes, just kindly face forward. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bwana CS. Before we leave, we kindly wanted you to just get a look and feel of our automated trading system, where one of our traders is going to take you through a sample trade. Thank you.
Oh, is he here? Yeah.
He's here.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so this is a trading system. You get to see like the bids and offers through this portal. So you get to see the various bids in the market versus the various offers. For example, right now we have a client willing to sell some KCB. The current top bid is $34.95. So you come in here and click the trade and key in the account. Once that is done, you simply execute by clicking on the sell tab. And it's gone. Mm-hmm. So you basically work with the client instructions. Currently, the client wants to be 20% of the volume. Mm-hmm. So you get to see that it's traded 33,000 shares on the total volume. calculate the 20% of the volume from that and execute it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you have
do it
on all the other stocks as well.
Yeah.
So you
How
have.
regular do you do in a day?
Sorry.
Like now KCB, now they are selling.
Yes.
Do you do it on minute basis, on hourly basis? Or
So it depends on the volume, or if a client comes in, we market out the position that you have, and you get a client who wants to sell maybe 500,000 KCB. You get a buyer who probably wants to do 1 million KCB of the same, or Safaricom, or any of the counters that are there. And by marketing it out to the various players in the market, you get a block that you are able to trade on the exchange. But for retail guys, you probably come in and they load up the orders. For example, what I've just hit is probably coming in from a retail client because it was only 5,000 shares. Okay. Yeah. Institutional and mostly foreign clients will come in with block trades. So they usually don't advertise like what they want to buy on the screen. Yeah.
Between what time do you run this?
Trading comes in at 9. We open the market. Retail clients usually load up the orders between 9 and 9:30. That is a pre-open session. Then from 9:30 to 3 o'clock is the open session, where now normal regular trading happens. Then after 3 o'clock, it's the closing period. Yeah.
And then ready for the following day.
Yes. So we report now to the various clients and exactly. And we also do we report to the client so that, and the back office takes over the process so that the issue contract notes and settlement process begins.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. With that, we come to the end of the event. Thank you very much for everybody joining us on our virtual platforms. We will continue with our trading and continue with our day. We thank everybody and our dignitaries for us here today. Thank you and God bless.